Hey, comic book fans! Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Geezers. This time we're going to stick to the horror theme. We're going inside the cover with Eerie magazine number 45 from one of Pete's recent hauls.
Yes, indeed. Another Warren horror magazine. Eerie, creepy, Vampirella. They did such a great job on these in the 60s and 70s and some into the 80s. This is a really good one. So I've had this one for a little while when I went and bought that big haul of like 20 Warren magazines. And
Eerie and creepy.
Eerie and creepy. And, I can't get that many Vampirellas because they're expensive.
Yeah.
Like the Vampirellas are crazy expensive. I only picked up a few of them. But the Eerie's and creepies you can get for really good prices, like anywhere between like $6 and $10. I mean, obviously some are more expensive than others. Like the Frazetta covers, those are usually a little bit pricey. But
yeah.
This is a great cover, and this cover is by Luis Dominguez. And look at that kind of evil witch. And she's got these very, very cool.
The Fiend's wife.
Yeah.
Got the Fiend hair going on.
Get the cauldron going there, a little snake coming out there, very cool. So this one's
feelings of the Fiend when I look at that.
Yeah. This has all sorts of stories. It's like 70 pages long. And as always, they do, yes.
For those who haven't seen The Fiend, go to our playlist, Morbius, The Living Vampire, Special Guest The Fiend. That's the second Fiend video.
Yes, we have 2 Fiend videos.
It's in our horror section, so check that out if you want to see some demented comedy.
God, we haven't seen The Fiend on Comic
3 years.
In a while. Holy cow.
3.5 years.
Yeah. It's the whole makeup and costume.
It's a production.
It's a whole production. So he's got to be inspired to do that again. But that was lots of fun.
It's coming up someday.
There you go.
Halloween is coming.
So Eerie's Monster Gallery, of course, the beginning of these, they always have a Monster Gallery. This is a 2-part this. There's Vlad the Impaler. So talking about Vlad the Impaler, of course, the idea behind
the vampire,
Dracula, yeah,
where
exactly.
it came from.
Right. So here it starts off there, and that's art by Aurelian and story by Fred Ott, and then it continues on the back cover, which I'll show you that right now too. And
2-page story.
2-page story, and then at the bottom you see Dracula as well as Vlad. Right, so kind of cool that they went.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore, where you see a story on the inside, front, and back.
And back, right? Yeah, pretty cool.
2-page story.
So, publisher and editor of this issue, James Warren. Did we mention what year? This is 1972. Managing editor, W.B. Dubé. Script editor, Marv Wolfman, right?
Ooh,
yeah,
Marvel guy.
That's right. Production, Bill Mahali. Marketing director, Flo Steinberg. Cover, Luis Dominguez. The artist in this issue, Aurelian. I don't know who that is. Luis Dominguez, Dubé, Esteban Maroto, Rubio, Martin Salvador, Suso, and Tom Sutton. I'm assuming all these like little one-word names are probably people who can't use their real names because they were writing or doing art for Marvel or DC. So
the Tom Sutton name I know.
Yeah, that we know, right? And then writers Don McGregor, Esteban Maroto, Doug Mensch, right? Another Marvel guy. Fred Ott, Steve Skeets, Tom Sutton, and Hal Turner. So lots of stuff here. And as you know, with the Warren books, you've got all sorts of cool advertising, got lots of letters, issues, and little articles and things like that.
They do that in the beginning before they get into the storytelling.
Yep, exactly.
Get that stuff out of the way.
Here we have a Tom Sutton story here. He did the art and story. This is pretty cool. So this starts off sci-fi. It's called The Mound. So basically here you have this like meteor which crashes to the earth and leaves this gigantic mound in the ground. So of course the military puts on their spacesuits.
They go check it out.
They got to go check it out. So doing all this testing and everything like that. And then they notice coming out of the ground everywhere are these crazy insects that are just taking over everything. Oh. So they, of course, meaning the people, the Earthlings, figure that whatever the meteor was that struck unleashed these insects everywhere. So now mankind is going to this war with the insects, big and small, and that's what the next bunch of pages are. And you see the insects are like eating through ships and eating through all sorts of stuff, and it's just like crazy. So the war against the insect world begins. It's actually a really cool story. And from the tiniest to the largest, right? So you can see good artwork here. And then finally, at the end, they come up with an idea that's like, you know what? I think, obviously, we know the Mound is where it all started from. Let's drop a couple of atomic bombs on the Mound. Let's nuke it, right? So all the people in the world,
evacuate.
The Chinese, the Russians, the Americans, all get together. They fly a couple planes over, and as you can see, boom. They know that's going to kill a lot of people in the city, but they figure we got to
save mankind.
Got to save mankind.
One nuke.
So they nuke it, and then afterwards, they go to the nuke site. And they find out that like the radiation is going right through their suits, and they're like, seeing what happens. And then they notice, this is crazy, crawling out of the mound, dead, is this giant alien anteater. And then they realize that the anteater came to the Earth to save us from the impending insect rebellion. And the anteater was going to eat all the insects and save us. And what did they do?
They nuked him.
They nuked him.
Killed him.
So now, basically, the end of the story is like, so don't get it. It wasn't the bugs Messiah in the mound. It was ours. Ha ha! The biggest ever loving ant-eating bug extermination human being saver of all time, and we killed it. And once again, the anthill was carefully, patiently rebuilt. This time forever. And that's the story. Things get really buggy. Of course, the insects take over the world, right?
What a happy ending.
So here, let me just give you a close up of the anteater there that they destroyed.
Taken out.
Yep. So that's a pretty cool story.
Remember the anteater from the Pink Panther cartoons?
Yes, I do.
I don't know about you, but I got a craving for some chocolate-covered ants.
That's right. So we got a little more sci-fi story here. Is R.I. Master of Man. This is kind of an interesting, almost kind of like a way before kind of artificial intelligence type of thing, right? AI type of thing. So this is a kind of interesting story, but really, really wordy. I'm not going to go too much in there, but it's kind of cool stuff here about how machines
takes over.
and
that's what's happening in today's world now.
Exactly.
AI is going to take over.
Right.
And we're at that point where it is going to take over.
And no matter what happens, the machinery always lives above everything else. So that's a pretty cool story here. And then this is a story I like quite a bit called When Wakes the Dreamer, art by Suso, wherever that might be, story by Don McGregor. So it starts off with this dude. He almost looks like James Dean, just sitting in the grass, listening to his little boombox tunes and just dreaming away. And he has this dream of this guy. These two, I guess they're kind of like scientists. One's a white guy, one's a black guy. And the black guy is talking about how a lot of people that he knows, his family and friends, are complaining that he spends too much time with the white people doing all this science stuff. Again, this is the 70s, so this stuff is all going on. And then what winds up happening is in this dream, people start disappearing. It's like the Thanos blip all over again. Right? Out of nowhere, the people start disappearing, and in their places appear these monsters. So, like, as people are disappearing, like werewolves and vampires, and also you can see the werewolf there all of a sudden appears. It's showing up on TV, on the news, these werewolves and creatures coming out of nowhere. So these two buddy scientists are talking to each other, and all of a sudden, in their laboratory, and he's like, we got to do something. In breaks in this werewolf who's got these weird kind of like vampire wings almost. He breaks in, he goes after them, right? They start fighting with the werewolf, and they're able to overtake the werewolf because the white guy grabs a crowbar and blasts him over the back of the head, and they kill the werewolf. But then, and the white guy's name is Doug, all of a sudden they're talking, they realize that what we got to do, we got to let people know, we got to find out what's going on. And Doug disappears. Right? So the other guy, his buddy, says, I got to go back and I got to go meet with my woman, his girlfriend, because she was already one of the people complaining he's spending too much time.
He's got to tell her what's up.
Got to tell her what's up. So he goes back home. He sees her. They meet up out in the street outside their house. They go and they embrace, and then they both disappear.
Ooh.
So then the guy, the dreamer, we go back to him, and he's still sitting there. He kind of wakes up. He turns the station on his radio, and then he goes to a new station. We interrupt this program to bring you the following startling announcements. The city of San Francisco is almost entirely gone now. The terrain inexplicably is, and all of a sudden, his dream is becoming a reality. So everything he was dreaming is actually happening. So that's that one. Then we got A Blade for the Teacher. So this is art by Luis Dominguez, who did the cover, story by Bill Warren. So this is like a Conan the Barbarian type of thing.
Bill Warren, is that James Warren's brother? Maybe?
I possibly. Possibly. Who knows? So here it's all about this barbarian dude, kind of like a Conan, who thinks he's all that, right? So he's the one who kills all the the enemies, and he's in his little group of whatever, his town, wherever he lives, he is looked at as the main guy. But someone brings up a conversation. Well, you were trained by what was his name? I'll get his name in a second. Anyway, they talk about how you are the greatest warrior, but your trainer. He trained you.
He's even better.
He's got to be even better. Plav, that's his name. Plav. Plov, right? So it's like, So he's like, but since he trained you, he's got to be better than you. So, of course, now this warrior guy, he's thinking, I must return to Plav and best him in battle. So he goes on this journey and comes across all these cool creatures.
You're not supposed to go against your instructor.
No, that's right. So he goes on a journey, but to go find his instructor, and he comes across all these giant ghouls, these dragons, meets a fair maiden, right? And they go back to the kingdom and the castle of Plav. And he gets there and he goes, what is your name? I am Hedlar. And finally he says, they meet up and get your sword, Plav, and battle me now that I have made it here, right? And I had hoped you would never return, Hedlar, but even the finest fruit can spoil. I shall battle you. So then they go into this whole battle. And then at the end of the battle, they're still going on. They're equally matched. Plav says something. Jasum Theora Sith. Hedlar says, my legs, what is happening? And Plav says to him, I am sorry, Hedlar, but you wanted to join my statues. They too, because he says, I want a statue made of me to show that I'm one of the greatest warriors of all time. So he goes, they too thought they could best me, but they did not reckon that I had powers other than those of the flesh. No, a warlock, but you never told us. He goes, no, Hedlar, I never did. A good teacher never teaches all he knows. Come, daughter, another group of would-be warriors arrives soon. So basically the fair maiden was his daughter. So he's got this power to turn people to statues, into statues, right?
Medusa.
So basically he's like, I'm always going to be the all-powerful, so I may teach you, but if you ever get the impression that you're going to best me,
turn you to stone.
I'll put you out and you'll be in my garden of statues. Immortalized for all time, right? So here, great. I love these ads. These are the best ads ever. So like the prehistoric hobby kits, Barnabas Collins, jigsaw puzzles, so all these dinosaur kits and things like that, Cro-Magnon Man. Then you got something called Man-Eater. It's basically a story of a
cannibal
artist. No, not quite. An artist who comes across this model, and she finds a way to kind of manipulate him, and she wants money from him. So the struggling artist is actually engaged to this old rich woman, right? He doesn't want to marry her, but he wants her money.
So he's the gold digger.
It's kind of, yes. They're both gold diggers. So she gets him to do all these paintings.
He should get her to marry the other woman he's got his eyes on.
I know, right? So she gets something on him and decides that she's going to blackmail him so he can get money from the old lady to pay her off. And he's like, so I guess he did some really like naked pictures and things like that. And she figures if the old lady finds out that he's done for, and she's going to drop him like a bad habit, he'll never get his money. So she's like, well, why don't you just get some money from me? I'll keep my mouth shut and the pictures will never come up. Yeah. So the guy, the painter, is like, can't have that. So what does he do?
He kills her.
Chokes her out, murders her, right?
The young gold digger.
The young gold digger. So he strangles her, chokes her, and then he goes and he's driving on the side of the road. Of course, he feels really bad that he just killed her, but he's like, I had to do it, right? So he's driving on the side of the road, going where?
Find a place to dump the body.
And all of a sudden, he sees everything outside looks exactly like a painting that he just made.
Really?
So he's like, so he gets out of the car, he's walking around, he's like, everything is exactly like this painting. And then he sees someone walking up ahead, and he's like, wait a second, this is exactly like a painting, this woman. And as the woman approaches, who is it?
The one he just choked.
The one he just killed, right? So then, so he goes to choke her again, but she's like a mist, like an illusion, spirit, like an illusion, right? So he can't do anything. But then all of a sudden he notices her illusion or whatever starts to grow and grow and grow. He starts floating in the air. All of a sudden he notices she has fangs. So she goes, picks him up, rips his head off, and then all of a sudden you see a car crash. So when the cops show up at the scene, there he is,
decapitated.
In his car.
But what really happened was what he dreamed of.
Exactly, yeah. So
but the cops think it's just a guy who got into a car crash.
Right, they don't know that. So the one cop goes, whoa, what a freak accident. Poor guy, completely decapitated. Yeah, but that's not even the half of it. We've been searching for the last 5 hours now. We still can't find his head.
Because she swallowed it.
Because she swallowed it.
Nice ending.
So here's some reviews of films and things like that, and books and stuff.
That's definitely an eerie story.
Oh yeah. There's some good ones in here. Then you have they got some of these like little short story things, which are not so much comics. You get some illustrations.
Ecology of Death.
Ecology of Death. You got this almost like Man-Thing looking creature there, right? It's kind of neat. And then you got all sorts of cool horror paperback books and things, which is always awesome about these. I got it. Like I said, I've said that a million times, but if I bought this magazine back when I was a kid, I would have been wanting to order all this stuff. I mean, here you got 8mm films, all these classic films, Nosferatu, Godzilla versus Mothra, Battles of Ghidorah, The Black Widow, all sorts of cool stuff. Posters of covers of these great magazine covers. And then I think we got one story left in here. You got some Dick Tracy stuff, masks. I mean, so much cool stuff. Here we got the Witch. This is the cover story, The Witch against Dax the Warrior. And this is art and story by Esteban Morato. Another cool witch story with a warrior, right? And never. And of course, the witch. She's got all these plans. How she wants to get young again. So what she's going to do is she's going to take the lifeblood from the young guy. Of course, the young warrior outsmarts her after she kills all of his friends. She turns him into like this little troll ape type of thing, right? And then what she's going to do is she's going to eat the hearts of all of his men that she killed, and
to stay younger.
And that's going to make her young again after so many years. But of course, our warrior, even though he's now like a monkey, he still has a little bit of brains left. So what does he see? He sees this deadly snake coming up to get him. He outsmarts the snake, kills the snake, and drips the snake venom into the bodies of all of his fallen.
So that when she eats their hearts, she'll get poisoned?
Exactly. So she eats the hearts. She gets young. There's a nice little nudie pic there. And then all of a sudden she's like, and then what does she do? Because she was able to do that, she makes him back to his normal self, and then right after that she goes, oh, but I'm feeling crappy, whatever, and she dies. So what is happening? I feel weakly sick. Something is wrong, but it can't be. I can't die now, not now. And she dies, and he goes, your serpent's poisonous bite coursed through the hearts you drank. You've got your wish to be beautiful Grimelda, and you died.
But now she's young and dead.
Now she's young and dead, and he's back to normal, and he can go on with his life. So that's kind of that story.
Happy ending.
Yeah, exactly. And again,
so did you get you witch?
On the back cover, we got all sorts of other episodes here, right? Issues. Back issues,
yep.
Yeah. So yeah, another Eerie Warren magazine. These are terrific. Really good read. I would highly recommend folks who like horror stuff and like the magazine format to go. There's lots of these available out there in the wild. It's very rare that I've gotten any of them that have been in bad condition. They're always really good.
Take care of those.
They take care of them, and you can get, like I said, you can get them $5 to $15 tops, and in most cases between like $7, $8, $9, $10 you can get one of these. Maybe even better if you go to like cons and things like that.
Sotheby's.
Talk them down. Yeah. So really cool, and the covers are amazing. So yeah. So there you have it, Eerie number 45. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time. We should have another battle issue for you. So
we'll tell you when you get here.
That's right.
So thanks for being here. Please click the like button if you like this episode. Thank you for your subscriptions and your comments. Please click the notification bell so you can be kept in the loop every time we have a new video. And as always, thanks for watching Comic Book Geezers. I'm Wild Bill, and on behalf of Pete, we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.